I could tell you a story about some things that happened a long time ago in a place far, far away, but those weren't inspired by the Force as much as other substances. But forget about all that. This week we are going to be talking about Star Wars on the Everyman Movie Review. Well, much like my own life, it's the culmination of nearly 40 years of effort. Star Wars Episode 9, The Rise of Skywalker, entered theaters a few weeks ago. I have now had tickets to see the movie twice because friend of the show Roberto got me a ticket and then didn't cancel it. He wanted to go see it with his girlfriend and thought I'd be around, and I was in Maryland at the time. Make sure that you check out the vlog about my trip home for the holiday. I have more details about it there. That should be up later this week, so make sure you keep an eye out. But I took an opportunity to go and see Star Wars with Roberto again because I wanted to make sure that I saw it before it got out of theaters. Not that it's in a rush to get anywhere fast, but you know, we're heading into the Oscar season. We're heading into a lot of blockbusters that are coming out, and I wanted to make sure that I caught it before it was gone. Before we get too far along here, let's handle the pleasantries, shall we? Star Wars Episode 9, The Rise of Skywalker was directed by J.J. Abrams. It was written by J.J. Abrams and Chris Terrio. Story by Derek Connolly and Connor Trevorrow. J.J. Abrams and Chris Terrio. I would go through a list of everyone starring in this movie, but unless you've been under a rock since 1979, it's a Star Wars movie. Any guesses who's in it? Carrie Fisher comes back from the grave, although it was recorded about the time of her death. Mark Hamill in his pivotal position. Adam Driver, Daisy Ridley, John Boyega, Oscar Isaac, Anthony Daniels, and a supporting cast as diverse as the galaxy far, far away itself. But I would be remiss if I didn't mention the return of Billy D. Williams, star of the first trilogy series, come back again to finish out the story. So as you know, this is the Everyman Movie Review. We're not looking at the quality of the film necessarily. We're not looking at whether it's an Oscar contender. We're not looking at the effects, although the effects were pretty great. What we're looking at is the movie overall and the enjoyment of the experience. Well, this is a movie series that spans generations. The original, Episode 4, although we didn't really know it at the time, came out in 1979, years before I was even born. The second movie came out in 1982, and the last one in the mid-80s. That means that I missed out on the original series of movies, as I was not even born at the time, obviously. The second set of movies, or the first trilogy of movies, episodes 1 through 3, came out right in the heart of my movie-going experience. I was a teenager, came out around 2000. That would have made me a sophomore in high school. And I believe the last one came out my freshman year of college. 20 years after that, here we are, and we're wrapping up the series with a whole new set of characters, but some familiar faces. And I gotta say that it feels kind of like coming home. There's something to be said for universes like this, where you understand the rules, you know what's going on, and as long as the story makes sense, well, I'm gonna come along with you for this little adventure that we're going on. And I was a little disappointed by the last episode, episode 8, because I just felt like they were rehashing the same things over and over and over again. It was basically episode 5, or the second movie that was in chronology. It's a very complicated series to talk about when you make the middle 3 first, but it was basically The Empire Strikes Back again. And I thought to myself, if they make Return of the Jedi again, there is no way we're going to get to the end of this series. But they didn't. That's the important thing. And I have to say, in the years since we first got episode 7, Daisy Ridley has really come into her own. John Boyega has come into his own. All of the characters here have kind of branched out from their Star Wars roots, if you want to see it that way, and have come into the mainstream of actors, and it is exciting to see. So I do want to get into some spoilers, and it is still in theaters, so here is your spoiler warning. If you don't want to see any spoilers, skip down to the second time down below, because we are about to start talking about the secrets of the movie right now. So as I said just a few moments ago, I was really worried it was going to be Return of the Jedi. I mean, Rise of the Skywalker, Return of the Jedi, but it wasn't, right? And the sense that I had walking out of the movie, I think the very first thing I said, and the thing I kept repeating was, well, I feel like at least I'm satiated, I'm satisfied. They wrapped up all of the storylines, they did so very nicely, and I feel like that series ended exactly where it should have. I do love the bookends, like the literary lover in me loves the fact that episode 1 started out on Alderaan. It started out with a character staring into the setting two suns, and episode 9 which is the last one made, although that was episode 4, the first one made, but not the first one in the series. The whole point is that this last one ended with a character looking at the two sunsets as they fell. And I gotta say that in and of itself is pretty amazing. And I was really worried when Disney got the Star Wars franchise that they were gonna ruin it, but they did not disappoint. They kept the standard high. They kept Lucas involved. I feel like the stories are top notch, and they involved all of our favorite characters. Now, I'm not going to say it's the perfect movie. Of course, it's not the perfect movie. There are places that I, as a screenwriter, probably would have changed things or done things differently. But did it stay true to the series? Absolutely. And I got to say, there was a lot of surprises, right? Like Chewie getting taken, and then, oh my gosh, like first of all, that Rey can do like the force grab and then the lightning that we've only seen from Palpatine before, and it blows up the transport, and oh my god, Chewie was on it, he died. And then for them to, we know, but they don't know that he survived, and the rescue mission. Like, I want to talk about spoilers, but 2 hours and 23 minutes, I feel like there's a lot of spoilers to get through. Just in the end, I don't know, I feel like it hit all of the things that you want to hit in a movie like this. Left the door open just a little bit, just a crack there at the end, by her burying the two lightsabers, Luke and Leia's lightsabers, going back to Alderaan and leaving them there. It's not Alderaan. I feel like it's Tatooine. Is she on Tatooine or Alderaan? I feel like I should probably... I know 2 planets in the damn system. Come on, give me a break, guys. But by her burying those lightsabers, it kind of leaves the door open that later on, is this going to be a relic? Is this going to be something that they search for? Much like in episode 7, Rey went to look for Luke Skywalker when he was out on that abandoned planet. And I feel like the only things that I've heard people say that weren't wrapped up were things that I wasn't really interested in wrapping up anyway. The possible love story between Finn and Rey, which I never really thought was a love story after all. The possible love story between Finn and Poe, which probably would have been more interesting, but it's a Disney flick, folks. You're not going to see that. The possible love story between Poe and Rey, which I never even saw develop. I don't know who's thinking that that's going to happen out of left field, but nonetheless, I mean, this is the story of 3 friends who are going on an adventure together. I will say that I think that in the beginning, Poe and Finn were probably the same character, and then someone had the idea that, well, this guy is a stormtrooper who ran away, and that doesn't really fit with the knowing pilot and leader of the revolution, or the resistance. So, they split, and these two main characters became 3 characters. I gotta say, the one thing I really love, though, is the idea of a dyad in the Force, that Adam Driver, Ben Skywalker, and that Rey are basically the good and the bad, but both of them have the capability of being good and bad, and in that way they are this magnetic diode in the Force. In the end, only one of them can survive. That's the way that that kind of binary system works. In the end, one saved the other, and then that second one saved the first. There's something. It's a space opera. It's a space opera, and it really fulfilled that kind of purpose. It was a Western space opera, and it really nailed all of those points that we're looking for along the way to get that. I gotta say, Adam Driver, I'm not any more keen on Adam Driver now than I was before. I think that he's a fantastic actor, but I think Corey, the other half of the Anthem podcast, put it best when he said, no one is marching into a casting room and saying, I need Adam Driver, bring me Adam Driver. But when you have him, when you get him, and when he's doing the part, he does such an amazing job that you ask yourself, why wasn't I asking for Adam Driver? I think this is probably the weakest part I've seen him in recently. I started Marriage Story. I haven't finished it yet. That'll be coming up in a few days. But obviously he was great in BlacKkKlansman, and I've seen him in a lot of great parts. This just I don't think was one of them. Even if it was the thing that maybe projected him onto the national screen. I think that they could have found someone else, and I think that Adam Driver's talents would have best suited somewhere else. But the long story is over, and you know what? So are the spoilers. Let's bring everybody back in so we can wrap up this discussion about Star Wars right now. I saw a meme a few weeks ago that was me as a 3-year-old with an empty wrapper, a wrapping paper tube, and it's like zoom, 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 Star Wars noises. It's like me as a 35-year-old with an empty wrapping tube, zoom, 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 zoom. There is something that is just kind of inherent in little sci-fi loving boys about Star Wars. And I think that I am still in that mentality now. In fact, I think I might have done the Star Wars sound effects with the wrapping tube at Christmas. I've said this about a lot of movies recently, but it's like a little bittersweet. I didn't really get that feeling in the theater, and the feeling I got in the theater was excitement that over, and such a great ending. And I think maybe the best test of the Everyman Movie review is how you feel when you walk out. Do you feel like you got your money's worth, quote unquote? I mean, obviously not money for me with the AMC stubs, but did you feel like you didn't waste your time? Did you enjoy the movie? And that's maybe that initial reaction you come with when you leave a theater. How'd it do? How'd you feel? What's going on? And then maybe a secondary feeling, like as you're walking towards the parking lot, maybe you're in the car on the way home. Does it change at all? How do you feel about that? And I think that on both accounts, Star Wars passes that test. I felt really great walking out. It was super exciting, especially the music. I mean, the music of John Williams has been consistent and amazing. And, when it closes out the film to black and the credits start running and we have the John Williams music, and as you're leaving the theater, it's just like this cacophony of multiple songs from John Williams. I mean, it does everything to get you excited. It's gotten me excited since I was a kid. Since I was a small kid watching the older movies, and then even into young adulthood, going to see the first three. There's just something about the song and the music and the way that it fits with the story that makes you excited. And then, there was a little bit of sadness on the walk back because I realized that, that's over. I will never be able to take Mac, my nephew, to go stand in line to see a Star Wars movie. At least not a Skywalker Star Wars movie. It was really great to go and see these movies with my friends over the last few years, and it's something that I wish that my dad would have shared with me. He's not a sci-fi guy. That I saw my friends sharing with their dads, although I don't want kids at all in the least bit. I think it would have been something really excellent that I could have shared with Mac and made him a little bit more nerdy than he's probably going to be, even being a genius. But there will always be the next thing, right? Skywalker will never die. There will always be Star Wars. So I'm sure that right about the time he's ready to start going to the movies, 10, 11, we're going to kick off with the next series. And then we can go to, now I can take him to, Star Wars World at Disney World, and he can actually experience the live action, which I think would be something I never got to do. So you take the good, you take the bad, facts of life. But I think my overall sense was excitement and adventure going out, and then a bit of bittersweetness in the car ride home, and then the mellow of waking up the next day and being like, well, I felt like that was a good time, 2 hours and 23 minutes, but it didn't really feel like it, kind of flew by. I feel good about that. And again, that's really what these reviews are about. It's not about the quality, it's not about the test of time, it's just how was the enjoyment, and I enjoyed it. But let's go through our questions before we get out of here. Number one, do you like Star Wars? Okay, go. I mean, you've probably already seen it, so why are you waiting for, really? Do you like action adventure movies? Do you like a little bit of a mystery, a little bit of a thriller? Because it does have aspects of that. It's a Western space opera. That is such an accurate description of how the characters interact with each other and everything that's going on. So if you like that, if any of that sounds appealing to you, you're going to like Star Wars Episode 9, Rise of Skywalker. And if you've seen the other ones before, number one, you shouldn't go see this without seeing the other ones. Most of it won't make sense. You don't have to see the first 6, but at least see 7 and 8 before going to see this, or else you're gonna have a bad time. But if you can say that all those things are true, and you're not like Corey and hate Star Wars just on principle, then go out and see Star Wars Episode 9, The Rise of Skywalker. You're gonna enjoy it. You're gonna come out probably with the same sense that I did, where it's just like, the story is over, but life keeps going, and ready for the next thing. And on an afternoon or an evening, sometimes that's really all you can hope for, is spending a couple of hours being reminded of the best parts of your past, looking at kind of the things that you have to look forward to in the future, and enjoying that time that you have to take while watching a great movie with fantastic actors and huge settings and great effects and all the things you really want from the theater. So run out and go see it before it's gone. It'll probably only be around for a few more weeks in most theaters, especially in most parts of the country that aren't Los Angeles. So check it out. Well, there you have it. Another episode of the Everyman Movie Reviews in the books. I want to thank everyone for joining me, as you always do. It's amazing to see all the support that I'm getting for both the podcast and the video forms of these reviews. Right off the top, I want to say a huge thank you to my supporters on Patreon. I could not do this without you. I have a bunch of new equipment. I have even more ordered and on the way, and that is due large in part to my supporters on Patreon. And whether it's just $1 a month or even more significant donations, I appreciate every single one, and I want you to know thank you for everything that you do. Also, the moral support. I get a lot of moral support and messages from people on Patreon, and I really couldn't continue to do everything I do without you. If you want to become one of my patrons, it's super easy. Go on over to patreon.com, that's patreon.com/Robert N. Cheek, and you can support all of the stuff that I'm doing. The Everyman Movie Reviews, the Rob Explains Everything videos, and I got a whole bunch of other stuff coming very shortly, so you're not going to want to miss any of that. And if you want to be a part of it, the books, the videos, the screenplays, everything, go on over to patreon.com/Robert N. Cheek and become a supporter. You can, of course, now find Everyman Movie Reviews on social media. We have a Facebook page and a Twitter and an Instagram. Find us on Instagram at Everyman Movie Reviews. Find us on Twitter at Everyman Movie and on Facebook at Everyman Movie Reviews. You can find me and my personal accounts at Robert N. Cheek on all your social networks. That's going to be Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, everywhere at Robert N. Cheek. You can find these videos and more on my YouTube channel, youtube.com/Rob Cheek. If you can't get enough of me, well, I do a weekly podcast with my buddy Corey. You can find that at odanthem.com. And of course, you can find it in podcast form on any of your favorite podcatchers, but most importantly at anchor.fm/odanthem. You can also find it at youtube.com/odanthem for the video. And we record every episode live weekly, sometime between Saturday and Monday. If you follow us on social media at odanthem everywhere, you'll get a notification. We're live on Twitter, Facebook, Twitch, and YouTube, all together at the same time. So come in and join us for the live recording and then check out the episode on Tuesday. New episodes of this show are every Thursday and then one in between. Usually it's going to be Sunday, but I can't promise anything, especially recently. So make sure you are checking it out. You can find it anchor.fm/Everyman Movie Reviews. That's where you can find the podcast version of it. And if you're listening to the podcast, make sure you check out anchor.fm/Everyman Movie Reviews /message, where you can send me a message and let me know what you think. If you're watching on YouTube, that's youtube.com/Rob Cheek. It's the Everyman Movie Reviews playlist. Again, new episodes on both will be available on Thursdays. I didn't get to all the Christmas movies that I wanted to for the 12 days of Christmas, but I saw the movies. I'm going to do the reviews. So now you guys are getting a little bit of Christmas in January as I wrap up those reviews and put those out for you. So keep an eye out for those bonus episodes as well. Thank you, as always, for all your support, for checking out the video. Make sure you check out robertncheek.com, where you can find all of this and more. New episodes of Rob Explains Everything coming soon. New short videos coming soon. A vlog for my trip home coming soon. All of that. Keep an eye out on YouTube and on all over social media. So thank you for joining me. And as always, until next time, have a great week, everybody.